All right, guys, welcome to lesson 13. In this lesson, we're going to talk about transformation of functions. This will be a short lesson. All right, we're just going to kind of go over the rules and talk about them. All right, so graphing techniques presented in this section show how to graph functions that are defined by altering the equation of a parent function. The parent function could be f of x, f absolute value of x, x squared, square root of x, all these different functions. Okay, so you take your function, and if you add or subtract k off the function, you're moving the original graph up or down. And if you take the h and add or subtract the h inside the function, then you are moving the original graph left or right. If you say negative times the original function, you're flipping it over the x-axis. If you have a negative x inside the function, you're flipping it over the y-axis. If you just take some number, either a whole number or a fraction, and you multiply by the original function, you're either going to stretch the graph or shrink it, depending on if it's greater than 1 or between if it's greater than 1 or if it's a fraction. And if it's inside, it's a horizontal stretch or shrink. And the rules for vertical movements and horizontal movements are opposite of one another. So what I mean is, if it's plus k, it's up k units. If it's minus k, it's down k units. But if you add or subtract inside the function, plus h is left units, left movements, and minus h is right movements. So it's kind of backwards. But if you can get them straight, it's not so bad. So vertical transformations work on the function, horizontal transformations work in the function. So a function involving more than one transformation can be graphed by performing transformations in the following order. You want to do the horizontal shift, stretch or shrink, reflecting, and then vertical shifting. Okay, so what we're going to do is they give us two functions. F is your original, your parent function, which is not listed, and then they give you g of x, and they want to know, how did you go from f to g? Okay, so on number 1, you take f and you add 3 to it, and you're not inside the function, you're outside the function, so that means that's k, which means you're going up 3 units, so up 3. Okay, on number 2, you got 2 inside and 2 outside. The 2 inside is plus h, which means minus or left 2. So I got left 2, and then I got right 2, or sorry, not right 2, but up 2. So left 2 and up 2. All right, number 3, you got plus 4 inside the function, which means I'm going left 4. All right, on number 4, it's 2 times f of x. So that is a vertical stretch. And I know it's a stretch, not a shrink, because on vertical shifting, if it's greater than 1, it's a stretch. If it's a fraction, it's a shrink. So this is a vertical stretch. By 2. Vertical stretch by 2. All right, so on G, we got multiple things going on. So we have a 2 on the outside multiplying by the original function. We got 4 on the inside of the function and plus 4 on the outside. So we are left 4. We are a vertical stretch by 2. And then up 4. And I follow the order of what I set up here. You want to do the horizontal shifting first, stretching or shrinking, reflecting, and then vertical shifting. So that's the order I was following. All right, on G, we have this negative for the first time outside the function. And because it's outside the function, that means it is reflecting over the x-axis. So we got minus 4 on the inside. So the inside says up 4. And the negative says I'm going to reflect over the x-axis. Reflect over x-axis. All right, 7, I got a 1/2 out front. I got a plus 1 on the inside, a plus 2 on the outside. So the plus 1 says I'm going left 1. The 1/2 says I'm going to do a vertical shrink. A vertical shrink by 1/2. and then up 2. All right. 8, 9, and 10 are the same thing, but they give you the original function, the parent function, and then the transformation. So f of x is still my parent function, just like it was before, but now it's listed. All right, so to go from f to g, here I got a negative on the outside and a plus 3 on the inside. So that's going to be a minus 3, or sorry, that's going to be left 3. And then the negative is outside, so it's going to be reflect over the x. Reflect over x-axis. All right, on number 9, the number out front is negative, so I need to deal with the negative and the number itself. I got a minus 6 on the inside and a plus 4 on the outside. The minus 6 says I'm going right 6. All right, the 3 says it's going to be a vertical stretch by 3. The negative says I'm going to reflect over x-axis and up 4. Okay, so let me center that a little bit. All right, so that's the idea. Again, I'm just following the order that I laid out earlier. Here, this is the square root of x. So again, it doesn't matter what the parent function is, the rules still apply the same across all these different functions. So I got a minus 5 inside the radical and a plus 3 on the outside. So the minus 5 says I'm going to go right 5, and the plus 3 says I'm going to go up 3. All right, so that's the quick gist of transformation of functions. That's it for this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one.